Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the five-time, no, we're not really five-time, we're two-time, the British Fist.
Catching!
I am Mr. Parkin, the one and only. This guy sitting next to me, the one and only NJ.
What's up?
What's up indeed, guys? Make sure you guys subscribe or above, like this video, and get your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in that comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the pitch box below.
Yes, indeed. And I just want to say a quick thank you to the guys down at TNA Swerve, Chris Regal, who's the head of that website, and also for Full Killer for suggesting us to that website. Thank you very much for including us on the website and suggesting us. We do appreciate the support, guys. Right, so let's get on to Impact this week, NJ. The crowd wasn't very good tonight. Remember, for the last couple of shows, the crowd had been pretty hot, but I think this might be the result of the multiple tapings and the Impact Zone. And it's kind of making me look forward to the UK, because we've got a UK show coming up now, so it's kind of making me look forward to how the UK fans are going to react, because I hear the TNA fan base over here in the UK is a lot more enthusiastic for the product than the guys in the US.
Well, again, I'll be surprised to see how they've changed, compare, and maybe when they realise how good the UK fans are, they'll come in more often.
Yes, hopefully so. But I look forward to the UK shows based on just crowd reaction alone. We opened up the show with a video package of the whole world title saga, which then leads us very well onto Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray brawling backstage. And we had a massive brawl to start off the show. It was a nice change of pace, because usually we get a promo or something, but to go straight into the show, to get us straight into a brawl, was kind of entertaining, wasn't it? Because it's just something different, and the way they structured the show was a little bit different this week, and it's a nice change of pace.
Well, after the weeks of Bully Ray getting involved in Jeff Hardy matches, having them brawl, just Jeff having enough, just going at it, was something that was needed, so that was good to open up a show, and so that pretty much led on to what we're getting the rest of the night, so I thought it was a very good opener. Yeah,
they brawled for a while, and then you have Bobby Roode coming around in his car like, oh, what's going on here? The world champion's going to have his say here, man! Yeah. And he pretty much beats up on Jeff Hardy. Then we have James Storm coming in, because we know how he likes a fight, being the cowboy and all that. And, you know, so it was a good way to open the show. You had all four of the guys that I assume are going to be involved in their main event scene brawling, and then you have Sting coming in and breaking it up, being the enforcer GM, unlike a certain Teddy Long who can't even you know, chat up like Sana. It's just a nice change of pace to start off the show, really, wasn't it?
With the opener, we had the people who were going to eventually get the main event, so for them to open up and get that was very nicely done, and obviously warmed up the beginning of the show.
Yeah, and a good, nice, fast-paced way to start the show. And we also got a new intro for TNA, didn't we? I liked it. It featured all the new guys and everyone in the main event scene. I liked the new intro.
A surprise when it just happened, and when we saw it, thumbs up to it. They did it very nicely done, and it was something different for TNA.
Yeah, and then after this, we didn't go to a commercial. We went straight into a #1 contendership match for the Knockouts Championship. Velvet Sky versus Tara versus Mickie James. I will say this, though. I think they probably should have cut to commercial before this match, because they had the commercial about a minute and a half into the match, and it kind of ruined the flow a little bit for me. But the action was okay. Nothing special, just okay.
Well, the way I would have done it, again, it would be kind of hard for them to have a commercial before the match after the introduction to open up the show. So maybe they should have had the introduction before the Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray fight, and then a break. But the way they did it, again, the match itself, three face gun each other. I'm personally thinking maybe they should drop at least one heel into it or something.
Madison Rain. Oh,
something like that. Yeah, but the match itself, I thought it was a good, fast-paced opener.
Yeah, I mean, it was some decent knockouts action. I mean, it was mainly Tara and Mickie James in the ring. I'm glad Velvet Sky didn't have too much influence here. It was some okay action, but the main thing is we have a #1 contender for the pay-per-view, so we now have a pay-per-view match made because, surprise, surprise, this surprised me a little bit, even though I looked at the spoilers. Tara wins. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing a Tara Gail Kim match, but I do say this, though. You just had that really sucky finish at Genesis, which made me think that they're going to continue this Mickie James and Gail Kim feud. I don't know whether Mickie James is injured or what, but it seems like they've really changed pace now. But I can dig a Tara Gail Kim match.
Well, the way I see this is that Mickie James lost, even though it was a sucky way of finishing. Then they need to get a new #1 contender, so I'm glad they had this #1 contendership match. And the way they had it, they have loads of knockouts.
Yeah.
So for Tara to get this win instead of Mickie James to maybe she should have made it for the match she had. But the fact we got a new one, they did the right thing. Tara's our new #1 contender, and go for it.
Yeah, and the finish was pretty good as well with that move onto Velvet Sky, onto Mickie James. That was pretty good as well. I did like the finish. And also, I like the way how they hung on to this segment. They had that backstage interview with Gail Kim saying that her and Tara have history. And then you have the interview during the show with Tara also acknowledging they have history. So they're acknowledging they have history and that they've had feuds in the past and they've had matches. So it was nice they actually gave these knockouts some time backstage to sort of talk about the match because it makes the segment mean a lot more and it hangs onto the segment and gives it more importance.
Well, the fact they had that no more contendership match, then backstage segments, it does show importance of the knockouts, and they do really emphasise on being the knockout championship match coming up and how they both really want to win and go against each other. So it's made me look forward to it more now. Yeah,
and then we have Sting, Storm and Hardy coming down to the ring all battered and beaten from that. And then we have Rude and Bully Ray coming out from the crowd. And then they just keep fucking brawling. And this was kind of like, wow, they're just picking up from where they left off. They're just brawling. Sting is trying to like say, get back! You get in that corner! You get in that corner! Way better than what Teddy Long would have done.
The thing I want to say about this is that with the two feuds going here, the fact they kept them brawling in those two pairs, it definitely shows that it could be something there. And I really like that. The only thing I did not like is the amount of involvement Sting, our owner, is having in this whole
hands-on GM, I would say, probably.
Too much.
The Joker's getting some shots in, I guess. And basically, we get this brawl, and Sting makes the tag team match, but Bully Ray and Robert Roode versus Jeff Hardy and James Storm. And Storm wanted a tables match, and by golly, did he get a tables match for that main event. So we got a main event announced, and I will say this. They changed the structure of the show a little bit here, which is, again, a nice change of pace. You had that brawl, you then had the knockout session, and then you had this, what really would usually be the opener. So, I mean, it was a nice change of pace, wasn't it?
Well, the thing I want to say about the table match, again, the way they were going at it, maybe they could have had more of a, not a street fight, but more of a hardcore match or something like that. Full count anywhere, something like that to go with the brawl they've been having throughout the show. And even though, I will say this, the table match, something different, go for it. And the structure, yeah, it does seem a bit different. Going into the show, you're thinking, is this actually good? Is this going to be good for the show? And all I can say, it was a surprise, something different.
Yeah, something different, which is what you want from shows on a consistent basis. We then had the match which I was looking forward to a lot, and that was Alex Shelley versus Zema Ion. We had the interview with Alex Shelley before the match, with talking about Austin Aries and the title match that he's probably going to be getting. This match was, I don't think this match got enough time, but for what they did in the 4.5 minutes, it was still decent X Division action, and it's making me look forward to a possible match with Aries at the pay-per-view. I'm really enjoying this feud.
Well, as much as I want to give credit to this, 4.5 minutes, no matter what happened in the match, it was still short for Alex Shelley's return match. So I was thinking a lot more could have happened to make more X Division feeling. Alex Shelley's return match would be a bit more bigger than what it was. But other than that, Alex Shelley got the win, so that's the main thing. Yeah,
they hyped it up from last week. I'm surprised they didn't have Austin Aries on commentary or something like that, but I guess they wanted the focus to be purely on Alex Shelley because it is his return match. Like you said, though, they probably should have given this more time, but still decent action for what it was, I thought, especially with Zema Ion saying, get the cameras off me! Get the cameras Oh, God. But that is another match made for the pay-per-view now. Alex Shelley versus Austin Aries against all odds. I'm really looking forward to watching that match. I'll just say that right now.
With the match that we've been waiting for, again, yes, it's not one of the big TNA pay-per-views, but it's still a match that we're all looking forward to. It'll be definitely a draw for the pay-per-view. So I'm saying that match is made, something to look forward to.
We then have a bit of a segment where Bischoff finds Garrett backstage and he goes to reveal his trainer, but then he says, cameras go, you can't see this! So like,
I can't see Hogan.
Oh, God, because who else could it be? I don't know. Maybe they got Rocky in there to train him based on the training videos they've done recently. Rocky Balboa, man.
All I could say,
they kept it short, didn't they?
It was short and it got Bischoff on TV.
For a minute or so, whatever. We'll move on to our main event, which really wasn't that much better. I do wonder, TNA. I know these Eric Young and ODB are getting decent crowd reactions, but why do you have Angelina Raminta versus Eric Young and ODB in the Our main event? I just don't understand, especially with this whole thing with Spike TV where they're not allowing male on female violence. I don't get why they had this as the main event. What is this achieving? Going towards a pay-per-view? Why do you have this as the Our main event? I just don't understand.
I look at this match and thinking they're concentrating too much on Eric Young getting involved. First it's X Division, TV title. Yeah. Now he's getting involved in Knockout. And I'm thinking, if you're not going to give him something important to do, because it's not really important, it's not going to lead anywhere, just get rid of him or just move him away. This match too long. It didn't have it didn't have rest in it. It was most Eric Young going.
Oh, it was fucking stupid. The first 3 minutes was Eric Young fucking around, and this went 7 minutes. Yet, why didn't they take the time off this and give it to that Alex Shelley match? Just saying. I mean, this was a pointless hour main event, in my opinion. I just don't see where this is going. I fucking hate these segments, especially as the hour main event, which is a massive, important segment for viewership. And I don't see why having this as the hour main event segment is really going to help viewership in any way or form.
No, yes, there's Eric Young fans that thinking, oh, this is good, I'm enjoying him doing this, doing that. But to be honest, when it comes to building up pay-per-views, giving up interest, building up wrestlers and knockouts, this didn't really do anything for anyone.
Yeah. Next we had a tag team segment. Now, they've had the tag team segment now on the TV show every week, and I'm liking this. It's good concentration on the tag team segments at the moment. We had a nice video package with that Crimson Morgan and Samoa Joe and Magnus. There's the feud itself, and then the match from last week and the attack. The way they do this with TNA now with Pritchard involved, it does add a lot more to the segments, doesn't it? Rather than just going straight into it, you get like a nice highlight clip and everything, and post-match segments and stuff. So I do like the way they're doing this at the moment, especially with this segment.
Well, with this being somewhat important because it's their tag team, they do need to have some kind of build and hype and that. So with these video packages, it's doing them justice. The thing I want to say about this match straight away is that, yes, Crimson is this undefeated streak, this monster and that. He defeats his match last week quick like that.
Yeah.
This week, Matt Morgan took his time and made it a longer-term win.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself, I thought was pretty... At least they came out with their tag team partners this week, which I think was needed. They didn't do that last week. This match got 4.5 minutes. Again, I think this probably could have gone on for longer. I was very surprised when Morgan won with the spinning clothesline. It kind of like makes Joe seem a little bit weak, in my opinion, but at least you had Joe and Magnus again attacking Crimson and Morgan after the match. The match had a bit of a bad finish, but at least the segment itself hypes towards the pay-per-view, hypes their feud, even though I feel it probably could end in a DQ, and it probably would have more effect. You're not really burying anyone or having anyone do the job in that case.
Well, the way I feel about this match is that Morgan, he's had a bad start in 2011 or that. Something bad. Now he's in a tag team. This could be his chance to start looking good, bringing him back into a dominant heel. The thing is, this match was too short for us to get that feeling of him. So I'm thinking maybe this match, definitely, for both his sake and Samoa Joe's, it could have been gone on longer.
Definitely could have. Again, maybe take a bit out of that hour main event. But overall, I'd say a decent segment for hyping up a tag team feud going into the pay-per-view, though.
With the tag teams not really getting involved much in TNA, not as much as maybe they could have done in the past, they do have to make this as important as they can. And
they do.
Thinking, now they've got this book for the going towards the pay-per-view, yes.
We had an AJ Styles promo next. Well, before in the night, we had a nice interview segment with him again. So nothing I like about TNA. They had this interview segment saying that he's going to get to the bottom of the Kaz and Daniels thing tonight. And also, we didn't have too many backstage segments tonight, did we? Like really long-winded ones. Remember the ones that we really hate? We didn't get too many of those tonight, which was good, I thought. It helps the show a lot more.
And the ones we did get, some of them had importance, like the tag team.
Eric Young, no.
Eric Young, no, that was just pointless. But to be honest, this one with AJ coming into the ring, announced what he's going to do, coming into the ring, it definitely was good because obviously this eventually led to something that's going to pay per view.
Yeah, he basically comes out to the ring and says, "Why Kaz? Why Kaz?" And then you get Daniels and Kaz coming out, and Daniels talking about AJ Styles being the golden boy and not getting his way, and he's throwing a tantrum in the ring. And then AJ turns his back and tells Kaz to get in the ring and make his decision. And we get this whole thing where Daniels proposes Kaz and AJ at the pay-per-view. We're still not getting any answers as to why Kaz has turned on him. So, an interesting segment, I would say. And we got a pay-per-view match out of it. So, this is a massive plus for me.
Well, the last of this match is leaving us wondering why is Kaz obeying Daniels.
Yeah.
And the thing about this that got me interested is that even though Kazarian was going to walk away from AJ, he actually got in the ring, did what he was needed to, and then it gave you a pay-per-view match. So, there's a lot going on here that they're just wondering what is yet to come.
Yeah, and you have Daniels wielding the strings there like the puppet master. Anyway, on to our main event then. Before this main event, which was set up early night, we had backstage segments with Robert Roode, Bully Ray, and Hardy and James Storm. Again, helps the segment a lot, helps hype up the match in the main event.
The thing was a backstage segment, which was a small disappointment, not a big one, that Bully Ray weren't as funny or as tonight. Yeah, he's got his talking, but he just weren't as he does in the past. But anyway, on to the match.
Tag match main event, I should say. TNA have done a good job of putting a lot of focus on their main events recently with Pritchard in control. Storm and Hardy versus Bully Ray and Roode. Not sure if I really wanted this to be a tables match, but if you take into account the strength of the feud at the moment with the whole backstage brawl, you could make a case for it. It's just that during the match, I felt one of the problems with it was you had to go to split screen so much. And it's very hard to follow the action when you're doing that. And when they could, if they just had a normal tag match, they'd just be focusing on the ring. That's my only issue with it. But still a really good main event and a very interesting way to end the show, in my opinion.
The fact that they got them all involved, they're all going, it's not just normal tag match when it's only one or two in the ring at a time, they're all going at it. It made it interesting, but I did think the split screens, trying to concentrate on each feud was a bit too much. But the match itself, it had good spots in, it had the dominance on both sides, and all I can say is that this gave me a good feeling of what yet to come between them all.
Yeah, and in the end we have Storm putting Rude through the table. I hope that is a little tease to what we're going to be getting a lockdown, because I'd love to see that. The match went about 11 minutes. It was a good main event. I did enjoy this main event, and what happened after the match really did help me enjoy this segment a lot more. You had Bully Ray, who's a great heel at the moment, coming in and attacking Hardy and Storm post-match, and then he does what we all remember from WWE old days. He powerbombs Jeff Hardy through a table. Interesting way to end the show, wasn't it?
It was, and to be honest, yes, they gave the faces the win, which was good because it made Jeff look strong. It made
Storm look strong.
And I'm thinking, giving Buddy Ray and Rude the upper hand at the end gave them both good things. So this ending segment did good for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, it draws heat, and that's essentially what draws money in the wrestling business. Allowing the heels to come out on top, drawing that heat, getting that baby face over at the pay-per-view. So this was good by TNA. They've done that a lot recently, making the heels look strong at the end of the shows.
That's very true. And early in the review, I said about Sting getting involved. I'm glad he didn't get involved in the main event, because it just left it a match between them all, and they just went at it. And they gave us the winners, the aftermatch, and a good feeling overall.
Yeah, and I mean, it gives us some intrigue as to what's going to happen to the pay-per-view, because I think you feel they're going to do a four-way match at the pay-per-view. That would be pretty good. I wouldn't mind if they did Storm versus Rude and Hardy versus Buddy Ray in separate matches, but I feel if they're going to do this, the way it seems like they're going to go down the four-way route, and if they go down the four-way route, I think we are liking this. You can stem off Storm and Rude going into lockdown, and maybe Hardy and Buddy Ray going into lockdown. So, depending on where TNA are going with this, we'll find out in the next two shows. You know, it's interesting. This main event scene is very interesting at the moment, isn't it?
That's the way I was going to say, because they have all these main events that include these four wrestlers, so it would make sense them going off to a four-way, them to go off and have a big battle all against each other, and then eventually, because of what's been happening these last couple of weeks, pair them off into future pay-per-views.
Yeah, so what would you say? What are your thoughts on this show overall then, MJ?
Take away the Eric Young bit. Anything to do Eric Young throughout the night.
Fuck that.
The rest of the show, it led us to good pay-per-view feeling, storyline thing, feuds building. So I would say overall, I really enjoyed it.
It's genuinely a better feeling when you get a show that's multi-layered. You've got the X Division feud, the tag team feud, the main event feud. You've got all that, the knockouts as well. So it's nice when a show like TNA provides us with a layered show. I did enjoy most of the segment. The only segment I really didn't enjoy was that ODB Eric Young segment, especially as our main event. But we had 3 pay-per-view matches made tonight. All the segments were at least decent to good, I thought, apart from that Eric Young segment. We got good build to the pay-per-view, which is about 2-3 weeks away. So TNA are building to Against All Odds very well, in my opinion. The main event was very good. The way they structured the show was a bit changed than normal. While it was a little bit weird, it was still very interesting to see how they were going to do the show. They structured it differently. So, overall, I thought this was another solid show from TNA, despite the fact they had that Eric Young segment as the main event, which still puzzles me.
Overall, I'm going to give this a big thumbs up, because I felt this was actually booked right, done right, gave us feeling. The matches could have been on longer, which would have gave me a higher feeling, higher grade, but overall, it was a good show. Yeah,
and so I'm going to grade this B, probably a B minus. I mean, I think that's a fair grade for this show. It wasn't a great show, but still did its job, and it's still a solid show. So I'll give this a B, or maybe even a B minus here.
B minus, because obviously the match length and the Eric Young involvement let me down, but the rest of the show, it goes towards a B, but there we go.
Another solid Impact show going into Against All Odds?
It was, and we need that to keep going over the next few weeks.
Against All Odds is looking like a good pay-per-view at the moment, isn't it?
So far, yes.
Yes, so make sure you guys, you've heard our thoughts on TNA Impact this week. Make sure you get your thoughts down in that comment section below on this edition of TNA Impact. And now, this is how we end our shows. The heel looking strong that is MJ.
Okay, people, all I can say, people, is thank you for tuning in for another TNA review. We've enjoyed this show. Hopefully you have. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and just let us know what you thought of the show. And that has been it from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Till next time, people, goodbye.